Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we're going to be continuing on with Dude, You Gotta Check This Out week by listening to some stuff that I indeed have to check out. Today we're going to be moving on. We're going to be checking out Snarky Puppy. Eric Nettis, Ryan Pattison, and Jonathan Henderson have all suggested that I listen to Lingus. Artist Circle. I apologize, man. I know you say Shofuken doesn't get enough love, but, like Ryan says, there's 20 million views on Lingus, and I don't know how much more indicative that could be of a good entry point. I'm not always real big on popularity contests. You guys know that. I like to check out stuff on the fringe, but that's just a number you can't compete with. So we're going to be starting with Lingus. And I don't know, Snarky Puppy's kind of giving me like a punk vibe. I don't know. So, let's jump in. Let's see what Snarky Puppy's all about. Ooh. Is this jazz? Is this not punk? That's rhetorical, obviously. That is a fat bass tone, too. Really digging it. Dude, that syncopation is funky. Yeah. Love the rock. Drummer changing up on the hi-hat there. Ooh. Starting to open up a bit. I like how we have this alternation between highly rhythmic syncopated funkiness and then just these really clean melody lines. Oh, such a swing transition there. Two perfect musicians to trade off in this. I tell them this is back and forth between syncopation and clean melody. Even the bassist looks surprised. Did they just work in a jazz standard? I can't... that tune sounds so familiar. I mean, they're playing with it a little bit. It's not like note for note, but... Dude, he's got some homages in here. I can't put my... it's on the tip of my tongue. I love it when musicians just look at each other with admiration in the middle of a set. Like, yeah, I'm loving what you're doing over there, bro. Yeah, starting to open this up. Let's get back. And dude, this keyboard solo is wild, but let's not discount the drummer. That cross-stick syncopation going on in soft section was just nasty, and he's just opening it up right now. Dude's about to walk out. He just heard the best thing he's heard all day. Don't need to hear anymore. Dude, this energy is insane. Like, the drummer over there is just playing around with time like it's a toy, and the pianist is playing around with key like it's a toy, and it's, oh man, that combination is just killer. 10 minutes are holy jeez, man. That felt like nothing. Yeah. I don't want to stop it yet. They deserved every single part of that applause there. Yeah. So that was phenomenal. That was real fun. Um yeah, just so the main thing at the beginning, I really want to point out, I did point out, was the playfulness in which they kind of alternated between highly syncopated rhythmic sections and more melodic sections. And I don't know, that just kind of pervaded through the entire song, except for the extended keyboard solo. Um, it was just always this back and forth between these really technical rhythmic sections, and then followed up by a couple bars of some really nice, legato melody, usually coming from the horns. A lot of the rhythm section played rhythmically. There's not not any problem with that. I mean, it makes for a very good, contrast going on between the horns and the rhythm, and they utilize it to great effect. But you could even see this concept showing up in the first solo battle, I guess you could call it. Normally, we would call it like solo trade offs between the sax and the trumpet, and the sax was extremely syncopated. Lots of really wild, like bebop rhythms in there. Uh, and then we switch over to the trumpet and we get some very nice legato. There's still some speed to it. It's not like he's playing extremely, slower. He's not holding notes out much longer. He's still playing with speed and precision, but there's more connectedness between the notes to it. It serves a stronger melody than the rhythmic aspect of the saxophonist. And like I said, this theme just kind of goes throughout the entire song. I love it. It's this back and forth, this tug of war, this push and pull between two sides of a coin, basically. They're opposites. Legato and staccato are opposites, but they just keep having this little tug of war. Who's going to win out? I don't know. Let's just keep going. Let's play a nice legato melody. Let's throw in some real heavy syncopation to it. Um, yeah, just beautiful stuff when you look at it from that angle. But obviously, I think the core of this song, and kind of arguably the core of a lot of jazz songs, is the solo. And I don't know I was going to say that might be blasphemous to say, but I actually don't know what the public perception is on the song versus the solo and which one's more important. It might be 50-50 for all I know. But I do know people who view one as more important than the other. The solo colors the song, and some people see the solo as being the core part, the reason you go to listen to a song. So yeah, I'd say there's people on both sides. I just don't know where the popularity lies, if one side's more popular than the other. But to me, I think for a lot of songs, the solo is the core. It's the main event. Everything else around it supports it. The song itself is the opening act, kind of to say, and then you get to the solo and you get to the real meat and potatoes of the song itself. Um, and that's just because the solos are always going to be fresh for me, whereas the song you can spice it up a little bit, but for the most part, it's always going to be the same song. The solos are where you see the individuality and the uniqueness, which to me is what jazz is about. It's really about expression, and that's where you're going to get a lot of that is the solos. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about that keyboard solo. All right. First of all, the dude goes through All right, we're not even gonna touch that yet. We're gonna look at what he's actually playing for a moment. His left hand is extremely syncopated, lining up with the palm mutes on the guitar and the bass riff, and I think the bass drum kicks on the drums. And for a little bit, I think the cross sticking was in the same rhythmic pattern as his left hand, and so he's got this really rhythmic, like bump 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 bump, something along those lines, just really syncopated in his left hand. And then his right hand is doing all sorts of rhythmic combinations. I mean, he does, like, 30-second note runs. He does like little flourishes with like grace notes and like 30-second notes leading into longer notes, and the rhythmic concepts are all over the place, and I can't even. It's just, oh man, it's just so hard for me to do that. Even if I'm tapping out something on my legs, I can only really work with one complex rhythm. Everything else kind of needs to line up. And the fact that he can just, his two arms are just separate entities. They are not lining up at all with their rhythms. And I get it. I mean, when you play an instrument for so long, you practice independence like that, especially for instruments that have that. I mean, with guitar, you have independence where you're working with your fingers on one side and your wrist on the other, or maybe your fingers on the other. And then you learn double tapping and finger picking and stuff like that. So, I mean, I have a little bit of limb independence on guitar, but, you practice and you learn and you get better. I get it, but it still just fascinates me to see keyboardists who can do this, even though it's like the most basic thing. Like the first thing you learn is how to play two different rhythms. And I guess I just never got past that part. But it's such a stark difference in rhythm for what the pianist is doing. It just blows me away. Even though, like I said, it's sort of more on the basic side of what he did. There's a lot more complex things that we can talk about, but the basics blew me away. So we're just gonna start with that. Next, I want to talk about the notes he played in the right hand. I mentioned in the middle that the drummer was playing around with time like a toy, and the keyboardist was playing around with key like a toy. And I really want to get to that. I will touch on that in a moment, but I want to talk about the key part right here. For the majority of the beginning of the solo, the keyboardist played it safe, sticking around within the key, only really coloring outside the lines a little bit here and there when he knew that the note would really add that extra color to his run, to his solo, and kind of give it a bit more identity, a little bit more of some spice. But as the solo progressed on, the dude just started forgetting about key almost entirely and just throwing in whatever note sounds good regardless of how it fit into the chord progression. Well, let me take that back. It fit into the chord progression. The guy has a mind for accidentals. Like, they fit. None of them sounded bad or out of place or didn't fit with what was going on with the rest of the band. And it helps that a lot of it was fast, so a lot of it can be interpreted in our ear as passing tones, even if there's a lot of dissonance with what was being played around it. Our ears tend to forgive it the faster it is. The longer you hold it, the more unforgiving it is to play a bad note, and bad is in quotations. There's no such thing as a bad note. But yeah, we tend to forgive dissonance when it isn't around for very long. So it helps that a lot of his ending was really fast playing, so that when you hit these accidentals, they didn't clash as much as if he had held them out longer. But he just threw in so many accidentals, and they never sounded bad. And of course, like I said, it helps that they're quick, but it always seemed to fit in there. It seemed to add the right amount of color and texture to his overall melodic line. And there's always just enough spice that you're like, okay, yeah, I love the way this sounds. It's interesting. I wasn't expecting those notes to come out, and for the key that we're in, it just adds this extra embellishment to it. Just like I said, just a really good ear for accidentals. The dude just knows when to place them, where to place them. Yet he's so familiar and comfortable with this chord progression, with this track, that he can just throw those in there. Um, and then the last thing I want to touch on with the keyboardist is the dude knows his hardware. All right, he went through like 6 or 7 different tones in that 3-4 minute solo, and he just knew it. I mean, most of it was on the fly. I mean, it was live. It was all on the fly. But most of it was like real. It's not like he was sitting there and like took a bar or something to fine tune it. Like he was tuning it while he was playing. He knew exactly where he needed to get to, and it only took a beat or two, to twist enough knobs to get the tone he wanted. And that's something that I don't really think I've ever thought about, because a lot of the jazz I listen to and have listened to sticks to a tone, rather whether why can't I speak? Whether that means that they're using an acoustic piano and they have to use whatever tone of the piano they've chosen for that performance, or they're using a single tone on a digital keyboard. I don't really hear that many pianists who go about changing their tone in the middle of a song, and that's just real wild. Like, I mean, it's one thing to have a solo tone. Maybe you have two keyboards, and one is what you play when you're doing background chord stuff, and one is what you play when you have the lead. But like I said, the dude's just doing it on the fly. He's in the middle of a solo and tweaking his sound as he goes, and he's doing that while also thinking about the rhythmic and melodic complexity in his right hand, and then he just returns right to that rhythmic syncopation in his left hand when he's done tuning knobs, and just the dude blows me away. I don't know who that is on piano, but I need to know, and I need to check out more of his work, and obviously more of Snarky Puppy. Um, yeah, just all around crazy dude. Um, so yeah, I think that touches on everything I wanted to talk about with the pianist. Let me close out though. The dude's awesome. Now, as he was increasing his melodic complexity with his accidentals there in the second half of his solo, he's starting to color outside the lines more, and the band is starting to open up a little bit. We're starting to get a little bit more volume out of the band. We got more instruments chiming in with the syncopation that he's exhibiting in his left hand. The drummer is increasing his intensity, both in sound and rhythm, and time manipulation. The dude starts working on so many polyrhythms I couldn't even count what was going on. He starts out with, I don't know, it might have been a cymbal, bass kick, and cross stick. I think that was it. And mostly it was sticking to the syncopated rhythm that was going on in the pianist's left hand during the solo. But slowly he just starts breaking out of that. He starts throwing in more cymbals, starts opening up the sound, volume increases, polyrhythm increases. Just the dude just starts opening up and starts throwing out this wild stuff. And I said that the energy was just rising, was getting insane. And yeah, some of that you're going to get from the dynamics and the volume. Anytime you get louder, you're going to feel more energetic. But between the controlled chaos happening in all of the accidentals showing up in the piano, the increased volume of the whole band starting to chime in, and the increased complexity in the drum work, I mean, there is definitely a cheap and easy way to increase energy. Like I said, you just raise the volume. That's how you get bass drops in techno music. Well, actually, techno music also uses rhythmic complexity. because you'll start with like da 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 da. Yeah, so you increase the tempo as well. But still, those I think are the two cheapest way, and not cheap like not fair, but cheap like the least energy required, the least writings. I don't know, the least effort. That also sounds negative. I think we're going to stick with that though. The lowest effort way to increase energy in a song is to just raise the tempo and dynamics, the tempo and volume. But this dude does it with time manipulation, with polymeter, polyrhythm, and just rhythmic complexity. The stuff he just starts busting out. Like I said, I couldn't even count what was really going on. Plus, the piano was melting my brain. So, you guys got to give me some leeway here. That was just some phenomenal stuff going on all at once. But yeah, so all around though, I need to give this another listen and just kind of zero in on the drummer because he did some wild stuff throughout the whole song, and I didn't get a chance to check it out because that piano was phenomenal. But yeah, just highly skilled musicians all around, really great composition, and unlike a lot of, I mean, this is obviously a technical group, and because of that, we see a lot of speed. And yeah, that's just kind of something that comes with being a technical band. I think very few technical bands slow down, so to speak. But we did see some more melodic sections. Like I said, the trumpet solo had some really nice slower stuff to it. We did bring the whole song down for a second with the I think it was the intro to the piano. It might have actually been part of the piano solo, but it was when he was using a more traditional piano sound before going into the fuzzy, like organ sound that he had in the end of his solo. Um, but yeah, the song knows how to balance. The band knows how to balance the more technical aspects with more clean melody, just smooth legato stuff rather than just highly technical, highly fast stuff. So, yeah, just, I mean, all around. Stunning guys, stunning song, stunning composition. Just, man. Yeah, this was perfect. Dude, I need to listen to this, and now I need to listen to more. This is where you guys come in, though. Hit me up in the comments. You can let me know that you're going to be checking out more Snarky Puppy. If you have an opinion different than that, I suppose you can post it, but you're wrong. Oh, you guys know I'm just joking. You're allowed to enjoy what you enjoy, but seriously, this was phenomenal. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this, though. There's also a description box. In the description box, there's links for blocked videos, stuff YouTube doesn't want you to watch. You can check that out there. You can also check out a link to my Patreon if you're interested on if you're interested in voting on future stuff. Kind of influencing where the channel goes, as well as joining a Discord community. That's the way to do it. There's also a like, subscribe, and bell button in that area. If you'd like to click those to get notifications about when I post stuff, that helps you out and it helps me out. So that would be greatly appreciated if you're enjoying what I'm doing here. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual, with the next episode of Dude, You Gotta Listen to This week. Until then, you guys stay safe out there, keep being awesome, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.